in every relationship, whether it is a business relationship, whether it is a romantic relationship, a family friend relationship, whatever relationship it may be, a mental relationship, there will be a time where the person will be perceived as less favorable or less valuable over a certain period of time. And so favorable and time is correlated in some way. And why this is so important is because once you understand this psychological bias, which we all are predisposed to, we then can utilize it to better our relationships, to better our business, to better our friendships, romantic relationships, business mentoring, whatever it is, we can improve on that. So there is research that has shown that and the example they used was mentoring. And so if I'm the mentorer and I'm mentoring to someone else, at that moment that I've mentored, or I've given someone a favor or doing someone a favor, at that moment, that person that's receiving that favor will perceive me as the most valuable. As time goes on, the perception of me being valuable will decrease based on time continuum. However, I'll perceive the person as time goes on, or the favor that I've done, I'll actually perceive it as more valuable as time goes on. And so there's this indirect proportional relationship, which means that in order to prevent this perceived decreased value, you need to be able to give of yourself more often than none. It is not just good enough to offer yourself once. It is not good enough to give just once. It is very important that you offer more and more to create a perceived, and to create the increase of perceived value. We all want to be valued. We all want to be seen as valuable. And this is whether you're in a business or in a relationship. Doesn't matter what it is, we all want to be valued. And the only way that you can sustain that value is to give. Now, because I'm in business, the way that I interpret this information is I need to make sure that I am giving of my time, I am giving of myself, that I'm always creating new ideas, new business ventures, new business implementing different systems to better the business, so the perceived value is always high. If you're in a relationship and you notice that there's a dip in sense of value, that you guys are just becoming more, and this is a romantic relationship, and you guys are just becoming friends, it's because you no longer are giving to one another, which increases your perceived value. I'm saying give of yourself again. If it's a friendship, give. If it's a family relationship, give. Now, this is very important. And I spoke about this in previous videos, which is the pursuit of something. You do not want to give to be perceived as valuable. You want to give because that is your nature. A flower which gives off a fragrance doesn't give it off to get compliments from everyone else around it. It gives off the fragrance because that is its nature. It gives it off regardless of if it gets praises or not. And so you need to be able to give. This is extremely important. Let's go a step even deeper. If you want to become your true nature, if you want to really know who you are, if you really want to discover who you are, I reckon that you start to give again. If anyone prevents you from giving, they are stealing away your divine essence of who you are. And so do not let anyone rob you of your divine nature, your divine growth, your divine evolution. Don't let anyone allow you to rob you of that experience. Give because that's who you are. Not because you want to be perceived as a certain way, but because that's your divine nature. So I encourage you to reevaluate and ask yourself, why am I not given, if that's true for you? And you'll realize very shortly that it's because of a lens, a perspective, a story that you told yourself that's quite limiting. And so I would encourage you to expand your story. I would encourage you to expand your belief of who you are and realize that you really are more than what you tell yourself you are in this moment. And so if we can expand that story, we then can expand our given. And so I say start there. Write down your weaknesses. Write down the story that is limiting to you, whether it is I need to people please, or I can't say no, or I can't stand up for myself. Those are 2 major ones, 3 major ones, or I always don't feel like I'm good enough. Whatever your weaknesses are, write it down and work toward that so you can expand your definition, you can expand your identity of who you are, and from there will the given flow freely. So the given will not come automatically. You have to do the work, you have to expand yourself, you have to grow. But once you've grown to the point where your identity has expanded, so will the giving come naturally, so will the giving come more freely, and as a result you will be perceived as valuable, you will be perceived as important, but most importantly you will be respected because you've done the work. So I encourage you guys to do the work. Write down your weaknesses. I'm not too concerned about your the positives about you. That will come natural. But write down the weaknesses, work on that. Figure out what it is. And if you don't know, ask two or three very close people that you trust, people that you feel secure with, and ask them, what are my weaknesses? And write it down and work on those weaknesses. Expand your identity, callous your mind, strengthen and heal the inner child so you can give.